Let us not forget everything that happens is by the will of Allah. It's time to unite and we will be the best amongst men. It's not time to be extreme or newly unthinkable, but to stand together as one. Into Sunnah followers streaming every day, various platforms. Trust me, you'll find a way. Sunnah followers.
This is Yusuf, and this is Ayub. And if you are benefiting like we are from the classes and the ongoing programming, and tuning into the Sunnah followers, please donate. Let this be an ongoing Sadaqah Jariyah on your behalf. You're helping the kids, the converts, and everyone seeking knowledge. And it's a wealth of information every day you tune in. Don't forget, you are being rewarded for your generous donations to keep this programming on air. You know, just like what you're hearing, put your dollar where the dollar's at, right here on Sunnahfollowers. Don't forget, donate right here to Sunnahfollowers and dollars at. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Welcome to our Hadith class for tonight. And alhamdulillah, we are studying the Hadiths from the book entitled Not of Us by Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli. And the Hadiths in this book are not saying that you're a kafir or you're not a Muslim. Instead, these are different hadiths that Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli put together in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam emphasized that indulging in this behavior or in this type of action is so gross and so bad that you're not like him. You know, it's so opposite of what he represented. It's so opposite of what he represents. So don't do it. So in other words, these are just bad actions to engage in. And let's take a look at the hadith for tonight. And I told you guys, we spoke about how it's page 30 today of the book. For the people on Zoom, I'm going to share you all with the Instagram so you can see. Okay, and then for everyone else, let me get the hadith up here for everyone to take a look-see. There it is. And this is the book too. For those of you who have not yet purchased the book, you want to get a copy of it. You want to go to atlionline.com and purchase this book. It's less than $10. And that's a picture of the book there at the top. Not one of us. And let's take a look at the hadith that's up for tonight's discussion. This hadith has to do with leadership. And one of the things that mankind craves is to be superior. You know, this is part of the human soul. The human soul is attracted to what's bad for it. The human soul is attracted to what's dirty. And one of the things that the human soul craves is superiority. It wants to feel and wants to believe that it is superior or better than others. So leadership, a lot of us crave it. A lot of us want it, but few of us are qualified for it. Let's see what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to say about it. And this hadith is narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. As you guys can see, many of the hadiths were narrated by him. Abu Huraira narrated the most, of course, and then Aisha narrated a lot, and also Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. He said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, one of the signs of the last hour will be that there will be rulers amongst you who will be surrounded by low-life people. And these low-life people will lie and oppress others. So if you come upon them and you believe their lies and you help them in their oppression, then you are not of me and I am not of you. And if you don't come upon them and don't believe their lies and don't help them in their oppression of others, then you are of me and I am of you. What time was the prophet speaking about? He was talking about today. Because again, tonight's hadith and yesterday's hadith that we went over, that was narrated by Fatima, the daughter of El-Khattab, Umar's sister. You know, what happened was the companions had asked the prophet, will there be times in which we Muslims will prevail? Because again, no one struggled more than they were. No one was tested more, not even the people of Gaza were tested more than they were tested. So the people asked the prophet, will there ever come a time where we will be okay and we will prevail? And the prophet had told them, yes, but it's going to come with consequences. He said the consequences is that the people living during those times will not be strong in their faith like you, my companions, are. They will have deviated away from my teachings. They will have deviated away from your lifestyle. And they will have replaced the laws of Allah with laws and rules of their own. And then he went on to speak more about how those people will be. And this is what he was saying. They'll have a lot of rulers amongst them, but the rulers will be unjust. They'll go around hurting people, lying to people, abusing the people. And they'll have a following of a bunch of ignorant, low-life people. You know, and if you happen to be living during that time and believe what they say and help them to oppress others, you're not of me, because this is not what I came with. And so many of us living today, we help these leaders. How do we help leaders? By posting up on social media the things they say that's not true, for example. That's why I tell you all, be careful of what you share to social media. Be careful of hadiths and verses of the Quran that are taken out of proportion, verses of the Quran and hadiths that are distorted. Because when you pass that stuff on and post it on, you're lying on Allah, lying on the prophet, and this is corruption. You're lying and oppressing others. You're making the religion hard, and Islam is easy. You're telling women that they can't be beautiful, they can't wear colors, they have to cover their face and their hands, when none of this is true. Nowhere did Allah say any of that. So again, this is oppression, you know, and you're helping them in that by believing the lies that people say and passing it on to others. And when you do that, you're not of the prophet, and he is not of you. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but it's the truth. We find these brothers and sisters who call themselves amongst the saved set. They call themselves Salafi in name. They are the ones that do this. They do a lot of this, you know, distorting the religion, making it harder than it is, you know, twisting the rules and laws, you know, to suit themselves. And they have a large following of people who continue with that oppression. And because of it, we have a high apostasy rate amongst women in Islam. Well, a lot of women apostate thinking Islam is oppressive, thinking Islam is nothing but polygamy and sex and making babies and being abused by men. And none of this is correct. So these are the signs, that the prophet warned us of. And we're living in these days. These are the days of the Ruwaybida, the low-life Ruwaybida, who have a lot to say about this deen, but they don't even know what the pillars of faith are. They don't even know what the pillars of the prayer are. So this is a hadith that we need to ponder, because we learn so much from it. Number one, we learned that Muslims should take precautions in staying away from all forms of oppression and people who do this. Be careful who you seek your knowledge of Islam from. Be careful what you choose to post up on social media. Also, we learned that a Muslim should make sure to be in a profession that doesn't harm or oppress others too. You don't want to be in a leadership position or a job in which you are working with leaders who are oppressive. Government work, where you're working with the president as a presidential aide or something like that. Be careful of that. And also, Muslims shouldn't lie. Lying is a horrific sin. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no one is perfect. All believers make mistakes. But there's one thing that a believer never does is lie. The believer may steal, commit other sins. He may backbite. She may backbite, but they won't slander, because slander is lying. They're honest in their business dealings. They're honest in their actions. Lying is something that the believer is not capable of. So we should be careful as to not deliberately, intentionally lie. And also, we should keep good company. This is something that we cannot reinforce enough of. Be careful who you choose to be your close friends. Choose your friends wisely. And again, we should strive to be like the Prophet Muhammad. You will never be a believer until you love him more than you do even yourself. So we should try to emulate his manners, his behavior, so as to not be unlike him. So this is a great hadith that we all need to ponder the meaning of, and we all should implement it, try our best to implement this hadith into our daily lives. Be careful to not go around hurting people. Be careful to not make this religion harder than what it already is by telling people that things are haram that are not. Remember, the lawful and the unlawful have been clearly defined to us. If something is haram, I would give you the clear verse. If it's haram for me to drink coffee, there'd have to be a clear verse that says you cannot drink coffee. It cannot be a sentence that says birds flew up in the air, they fell down with mocha on them, and that means we can't drink coffee. Allah doesn't speak that way. The lawful and unlawful are clear. If it's haram, it will be a clear verse saying it's haram. If there's no verse saying it's haram, then don't you say it's haram. That means it's lawful. Okay, so we have to be very careful, to not take part, in corruption. All right, so on that note, I'm going to stop right here. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Are there any questions? Brother HK wants to know McDonald's funds Israeli troops. Brother HK, there's nothing, I repeat, there is nothing I repeat again, there is nothing in the Quran and there's nothing in the authentic Hadith that says because somebody funds an enemy that we boycott. The Prophet Muhammad did not boycott anyone except Muslims who were bad. The Prophet never boycotted the Quraysh. The Prophet never boycotted any of the Jews. So boycotting is not a law in Islam. It's not something that no one has to do. So there's your answer. The Prophet Muhammad fought more battles than we are fighting. He and his companions suffered more than the Gazans did. What's going on in Gaza is nothing like what the Prophet and his companions went through. They went through much worse genocide. And he didn't sit around boycotting any products or any of that. So to answer your question, no. All right. What else, guys? Any other questions? Life happens. One of the companions was waving a white flag and got killed on the battlefield. Life happens. Life repeats itself. History repeats itself. I want all of you Muslims listening to me to understand that there is nothing happening today that's worse than what the Prophet and all his companions went through. The Prophet was engaged in battle from the time he received the call to prophethood until his death. And after he died, the Muslims still continued to fight under 4 other caliphs. Genocide. It's always been the desire of Shaitan. As the Prophet said, when Islam spread throughout Arabia, when Shaitan realized, when Iblis realized he could not stop the spread of Islam through the Arabian Peninsula, Iblis was angry. And that's when he said, I will try to cause hatred between you. I will try to cause your people to attack each other and kill each other since I couldn't stop you this way. So Iblis did everything in his power to genocide the Muslims. During the whole mission of the Prophet and Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, Muawiyah, and all the rest of them. So this is nothing new. It's just that the people today are weaker. Like the Prophet said, the people will become weaker and weaker and weaker in their faith and their practice. Does everybody understand? So I don't want you guys to get all caught up in the media. We talked about the dangers of the media. You get so caught up in that media and emotionalism that you end up transgressing the limits of Allah, because all you're doing is feeding the fuels of Iblis, because Iblis knows that we are emotional, that we are more emotional than the Christians are. We are more emotional than the Jews are. And Iblis will play on that. And he said he would. He would use our weakness, which is our emotions, to cause us to transgress Allah. So y'all need to keep that in mind as y'all watching TV and what's going on over in Gaza. Okay? Yeah. Any other questions? Go ahead. Somebody was on the mic on the Zoom room. Go ahead. Somebody in the Zoom room? I heard somebody on the mic. Oh, I can't use this. It's going to make me freeze. Okay. Oh, let me turn this open.
We hearing them, but no one is on the mic, though.
Oh, that was Sabrine's mic. Okay. Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? Yeah, go ahead.
It may be open, but
yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it probably was the car.
Oh yeah, the car is passing by.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's very, very interesting. I'm sitting here listening to you, and everything that you're saying is going through my mind, it's going through my heart, it's going through my soul. I'm listening with an intenseness that's even hard for me to understand, but I know it's important for me to understand it.
Yeah.
Each word.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, brother HK, why don't you boycott? Because Allah didn't say it. Remember, you don't call the shots for Islam. That's your business. If you want to go out and boycott, that's your business. But you cannot make up your own law. That's what this hadith is talking about. The day of corrupt leaders and low-life people. People that don't understand the basics of Islam. They want to make their own rules. They want to make their own laws to oppress others out of their ignorance. That's exactly what this hadith is talking about. If you don't understand that McDonald's is a franchise, first of all, brother HK, I tell y'all to go to school and learn. McDonald's is a franchise. Anybody can own a McDonald's. It belongs to whoever buys it. It's not owned by Israel. Y'all got to get educated. This is what that hadith is saying. Low-life people who don't know anything. They make their own rules, their own laws out of ignorance, and all they do is make things worse. All they do is make it worse. If you want to boycott McDonald's, knock yourself out, HK. But you are not Allah. You are not the Prophet Muhammad. Allah did not tell us to go out and boycott anyone. And the Prophet Muhammad didn't say it either. So it don't matter if you went to college. It don't matter if you learned from Sheikh Kamadam a dozen. You cannot change the laws of Allah. That's what this hadith is all about. Do you understand, HK? If you want to boycott McDonald's and it makes you feel good, go ahead. But you cannot say that Muslims have to boycott, because only Allah can make the laws. That's one of the first things you learn as a Muslim. You can't make laws that supersede Allah. Do you understand? It's just that simple. Go boycott. If that makes you feel good, then you can boycott McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Starbucks. Don't eat. You can go on a starvation diet. That's your prerogative. That is your prerogative. But you cannot make laws to contradict what Allah said. And don't nobody have to listen to you, because you are not Allah. And you definitely ain't the prophet. Do you understand? So you keep on boycotting, but I'm going to keep drinking my Starbucks. And I'm going to go to my cousin's Mickey D's and get me a cheeseburger later. Okay? But you can go ahead and boycott if that makes you happy. But you cannot make laws. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't need you, brother. Believe you me, I can comprehend you very well. It ain't hard to comprehend what you're saying. But what you're saying, it ain't what Allah said. You're not Allah. You're not the prophet. Your understanding is not like the companions. That's all I'm saying. Everybody understand? This is what this hadith is talking about. People will make their own laws, their own rules. And they end up oppressing others. They're not helping anything. They're making life hard for themselves, and harder for anyone that listens to them. Remember the Hadith. The Hadith says if you listen to them, you ain't of us. So if y'all want to listen to that, that's your business. But if you want to be of the prophet, you do what the prophet said do. Does everybody understand? But go ahead. He can go ahead and if you want to boycott, if that makes you feel like you're doing something, HK, you know, I heard that we got some Muslims doing a starvation fast. Did y'all hear about that? There's some Muslims in Europe. There's some Muslims in Europe who are on a 100-day fast. They've been fasting since the stuff happened that began in Gaza. They're not eating anything. They're just drinking water. A couple of them died, I heard. You know, that's their business. They really think that they're doing something. They think that this starvation that they're on is helping. These are the people the prophet is talking about. If they want to do that, that's their problem. They're going to answer to Allah, but they can't impose their ideology on anyone else. If they do, and you stupid enough to listen to it, go on your hunger strike. That's what it's called. They calling it a hunger strike. What country is that? It's some European country. The Muslims been on a hunger strike ever since this stuff happened in Gaza. That's their problem. We don't argue with these people. That's the Hadith, Brother Ahmad. The people are ignorant. They don't know. So, what does Allah tell us to do with foolish people? Can anybody remember? What does Allah tell us to do when we come upon foolish people? What does Allah say in the Quran to do? Anybody remember? Does he say that we argue with them? Does he say that we fight with them? Does he say that we get upset? What does Allah tell us to do with these kind of people? Exactly. He says, turn away. That's the verse. Allah says, turn away from the ignorant, foolish people. That's it. We don't waste our time with these people. They want to go on a hunger strike. They want to boycott McDonald's. They want to boycott Starbucks. They want to boycott CoverGirl. They want to boycott Nike shoes. They want to boycott America. We got some other Muslims saying that all people in America are kafir. That's another Muslim group. They said that anybody in America who lives in America is kafir. There are no Muslims in America. Now, they want to call everybody in America a kafir. That's their problem. They're going to have to answer to Allah for that. We don't waste our time with these people. We just turn away from them and keep it moving. Yeah, so that's all we do, guys. You don't argue with these people. Yeah, I was in some chat group the other day, and these were Arabs. Arabs in Bahrain. And they were arguing and saying that there are no Muslims in America. America's a kafir country. Everybody in America's kafir. Everybody in America's going to hell. And all this stuff. I left out of there. I said, these people are crazy. I'm not going to sit in there and listen to this garbage. And I left out. But they believe it. They actually believe that there are no Muslims in America. Anybody that lives in America is a kafir. They believe it. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told us, don't argue with an ignorant person. Because if you argue with an ignorant person, he may hurt you. And he said, don't argue with an intelligent person. Because if you argue with an intelligent person, you will make them hate you. All of these hadiths are sahih. So we just turn away. We don't waste our time with this nonsense. Yeah. But do whatever turns you on. If you guys want to hunger strike, that's your business. You guys want to damn America, that's your business. You want to boycott every company in America, including Tide. Oh, that's another. They put Tide on the list, soap powder, dishwashing liquid. Just don't use nothing. Just turn into a caveman. Do what you want to do. Whatever turns you on, sweetie. But for the rest of us, we're going to follow what Allah said. Like the Prophet said, who's like him? Those of us who follow what Allah says. Those of us who follow what he did and who have the understanding his companions had, we are the people of him. So that's it. It's just that simple. Yeah. So that's just how it is. Any other questions? Yeah, just get off the grid. Just go get you I heard that's what the Caucasians are doing here in America. They living off the grid. Just go live off the grid. Build you a bomb shelter like they doing. A lot of Caucasians have built bomb shelters underneath the ground and they're living off the grid. Just go live off the grid. You ain't got to worry about McDonald's and Nikes and CoverGirl and Tide and Dove and Listerine, toothpaste. Just live off the grid. Yeah, that's it.
Sister, there's a question in the Zoom room.
Yeah, go ahead.
She says, Assalamu alaikum, sister. What does Islam say about befriending a non-believer, an atheist, who benefits you in many ways but ridicules your belief in Allah?
Is it a family member?
She didn't say.
Ask the person, is it a family member? Because then my answer be different. The answer is different if it's a family member. Yeah. Wait, and then when she types, let me know.
She said, no, it's not a family member, but someone who has been in my life since before I converted.
Okay. Remember, as Muslim, this is what I'm teaching every day at 6 p.m. This is part of our Shahada. Every time we make salat and we say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, we're testifying also to have allegiance to Allah, allegiance to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and allegiance to the religion of Islam and its believers, its followers. We're also testifying to disassociate ourselves from anyone or anything that opposes Allah, anyone or anything that opposes the Prophet Muhammad, anyone or anything that opposes our religion and also the Muslims. So if you got there, and also Allah tells us in the Quran, he says, do not take the Christians and the Jews and the other unbelievers as your friends, because they will never be friends to you. They'll only be friends to each other. So as a Muslim, you shouldn't have any kafir friends anyway. Period. Dot. That's why I said the answer would have been different if it was a family member. Even with them, we deal with them from a distance. But now that you are a Muslim, you are upon a new lifestyle. Your life has changed. The people you had in your life as friends before, you have to remove them and replace them with Muslims. So any kafirs who have been in your life before Islam, you have to close the door to them and keep it moving. And instead replace them with strong, practicing believers. Because as the Prophet Sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, a person takes on the religion of his or her friends. So if you got an atheist that you was friends with, assalamu alaikum, keep it moving. You're done. We don't hang out with non-Muslims. We don't interact with them on that level. We only interact with them in business. When you go to work, you got to work with kafirs. But after you punch out and you go home, and that's it. You understand? When you go to school, you're going to school around kafirs. But once you go, you clock out, you go home, that's it. So you should have nothing to do with this person because the person's not Muslim, number one. And since the person is an atheist, you definitely run away from that person. Because your faith, you are new to Islam, your faith has not yet been grounded in your heart. And that person can pull you away from here. That person knows too much about you. Whereas that person can pull you back to the lifestyle you had before. Everybody understand? You understand, sister? So your relationship should be non-existent with this person now. No relationship. That's it. It's over. Also, was the person a male or a female? That's important too.
I think it's a female.
Okay, good. Because I know she wasn't messing around with no male. You don't have no male friends, period.
Jazakallah khair for your response, sister.
Yeah, let that person go. Tell her to let that person go, sweetheart. You a Muslim now. That person's non-existent. Move on. Yeah, it was really strange when I was growing up here in America. I grew up in the 60s where didn't nobody even know what Muslims were. And there were some girls in school. I had two little non-Muslim girls were close with me. They went through, I went to all girls schools. They went to junior high with me and they went to high school with me. We were in all girls schools. And they never understood why I couldn't hang out with them. Because they really liked me, because I was always leader. I was a leader, always. And they never could understand why I couldn't come to their house and hang out with them and why I couldn't get close with them. I told them we can only do projects in school. That's it. Once school is over, you go home and I go home, but you can't go home with me. And they never understood that. Okay. But for you, now that you're a convert, you have to do the same thing. Got to just let them know I'm a Muslim now. My lifestyle has changed. I'm a different person. I'm on a different mission. We have nothing in common. So to you be your way and me be mine. Just let the person know that. Yeah. Any other questions? And by the way, guys, please pass the word that tomorrow we have the Call In and Ask Sister Layla show at 9 o'clock from 9 till 11. For those of you who are new, every Friday, let me see if I got the little thing here. Yeah, this is it. Here it is. Let's play that. This is every Friday.
Join us every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern for the Ask Sister Layla live call-in and answer show. Please join Ustada lailanasheeba. If you have any questions in regards to this theme, call in at 862-370-2838. Now streaming on various platforms right here on Sunnahfollowers.
Yeah, that's tomorrow, every Friday at 9, from 9 till 11. You can come in with your questions and type them, or you can join the Zoom room and ask it on the mic, and I'll answer. If there's a question that I cannot answer, I'll call Sheikh Morsi, or we'll have Dr. Ibrahim Jamali, so you don't worry. We'll get your questions answered. So make sure you guys pass the word around, because I know a lot of Muslims got questions, and it's good to have a place you can come to and get the answers based on Quran and Hadith with the understanding of the companions. And that's what makes my Q&A different. My Q&A show is not like anybody else's, because I never give you an answer based on my opinion. I never give you an answer based on my feelings. Every answer I give is going to be from the Quran or the authentic Hadith. And if there's more information that you need, I'm going to give you the understanding that those original companions had on the issue. So that's what makes my Q&A show different than others, because it's strictly Quran wa Sunnah. So, and that's how, as you guys saw last week, that's how Sheikh Morsi answers too. He's my teacher, so I'm just like him. So, you know, make sure you bring your questions in, inshallah. Okay, any other comments before we close out for tonight? Yeah. All right, guys. So inshallah, make sure that everybody is here tomorrow. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta